It sure seems like the Supreme Court is set to overturn the right to abortion access. It's a decision that a majority of Americans do not agree with. The rift between what most people want and how a majority of the court is likely to rule could be in part because 5 of the 6 conservatives on the court were appointed by presidents who lost the popular vote. So while overturning Roe has major implications for people hoping to get health care, it also has major implications for our democracy and just how representative or not it really is. What does a rollback of abortion access in the U.S. mean for overall democracy?
I think that it signals that we continue to be in the trouble of the last administration. The last administration saw folks who were white supremacists attack the Capitol. Who does abortion rights affect the most? African Americans, people of color, the most vulnerable in society. And so I think it's a signal that the shadow of the last administration is still here. It sits on the Supreme Court. So I don't think that the court should feel comfortable saying, oh, we'll just go vote. It may be a rigged game, just as it was a rigged game, during Jim Crow.
Victoria Nourse is a Georgetown law professor and former chief counsel to then Vice President Joe Biden. Her feelings about the game being maybe rigged are somewhat at odds with what Justice Samuel Alito wrote in his draft decision, which was that Americans, and specifically women who have an issue with this, should take it to the ballot box. For many Americans, especially people of color, it's become harder to vote. Last year, at least 19 states passed a total of 34 laws restricting access to voting. And when people can vote, rampant gerrymandering means sometimes their vote is diluted.
People have to realize how important it is to operate in the states, because that's where people, where the rubber really hits the road because of partisan gerrymandering. You have to mobilize more people on your side than the other side, because they've skewed the districts in a way in their favor in many states. And passionate people can have more power than disinterested voters. So the people who are disinterested will win if they could just stop being disinterested.
Justices Gorsuch, Barrett, and Kavanaugh, does the way that they reached the court trouble you in terms of basic rule of democracy?
It does. It troubles me because we have a system where, in fact, they auditioned for the court by being acolytes of a particular justice who has a very radical method. Justice Scalia doesn't believe women are protected by the 14th Amendment. They all went to their hearings, and the 3 Trump justices, they were nominated by a president who did not have a majority of votes. He radically changed the character of the court by radically changing how they decide cases, whether it's about abortion or gay rights or about marriage or the Catholic Church. The way you get this is because the Senate is a minoritarian institution. The senator from California represents millions of voters. The senator from Nebraska or Wyoming, very few. And because of the filibuster, a minority can stop almost anything. And then we got rid of the filibuster for these justices. It used to be all the justices got about 90 votes. And now they don't. These are minoritarian justices. And now they're going to follow through with their judicial philosophy.
If Roe is in some way overturned by this decision, when do women get the right back at a federal, national level to have an abortion? Does that happen anytime soon?
Well, the first thing you'd have to do is amend the Constitution with the Equal Rights Amendment. That may be one way. You get a federal statute. But for that, you got to get over the filibuster. And for that, you've got to kick out people who don't believe in, women's rights. Pretty much, women have to stand up and fight for this now. I really do think people can change this. I do believe that votes can change this because they changed it before. People have just become, because the court protected them, they thought they were safe. And now they have to learn something a little bit about, no, you're not.